Now, so far we have David who wants to send a secret message to John. To do this, John generated a key pair. John also sent the public key to David. David has downloaded the public key and imported it into his key ring. So if we go to David's computer right here, we can see he has John's public key. So right now, David can encrypt data with John's public key, send it to John, and that way John will be the only person who can decrypt this data because he is the only person that has his own private key. Now you'll also notice an extra entry in here. I've actually created a key pair for David in this section right here for the sake of completion. You don't have to do this because, like I said, all we need is John's public key to send data to John. And according to the example we're doing, David will be sending data to John. So all we need is John's public key. I just created a key pair here for David just for the sake of completion so that you can see how this will work in a real life scenario. So we actually don't need to use this anymore because David already has the public key of John. So all you have to do is literally start typing the message that you want to send. To do this, I'm just going to open a text editor. So again, we're going to go to accessories. We're going to open my text editor and I'm just going to start composing the message. So for this, we're just going to say, hello, this is a secret message sent from David to John. Now, before sending this, we're going to select all of this text. We're going to copy it. And then we're going to go to the clipboard applet and we're going to click on Sign Encrypt Clipboard with Public Key. We're going to click on this. And as you can see, you get a list of all of the public key that you have on your computer. Now, like I said, all of the ones that start with tails are default public keys added in order to verify the integrity of packages downloaded from tails. You don't want to select any of these. You want to make sure you select the contact that you want to send the message to. And in our example, we want to send the message to John Wick. Now, this is perfectly fine. You can just select it like this and click on OK to encrypt the message. But in this case, even David, so even the sender won't be able to see the contents of the message. If you want to be able to decrypt the contents of the message yourself as well, then you should tick the entry for your own key. So this is David's computer, and if David wants to still be able to see the contents of the message that he's gonna send, he should tick this box. Otherwise, we can just tick John, and the only person in the world that will be able to read the content of this message will be John or anyone who has the private key. But if John is using PGP properly, he should never share the private key with anybody, and therefore, when we encrypt a message with his private key, we can be sure that John will be the only person that can read the content of this message. So we're gonna click on OK. It's going to ask us if we trust this key. We're going to say yes, we do trust it. And as you can see in here, you can see the icon of the clipboard has changed to indicate that the clipboard right now contains an encrypted text that represents the text that we copied already. So if in the same text editor in here, if I just paste whatever that is in my clipboard, you will see I'll get an encrypted message. And this is basically the content in here encrypted using John's public key. So right now, you can just copy all of this and send it to John using any method of communication. So you can send it as an instant message, you can send it in a chat room, you can send it as an email, you can even put it in a paste bin publicly where anybody can see your message, where anybody can see your secret message. This is the beauty of PGP. You can put this anywhere and nobody will be able to see or read the content of this unless they have the private key of John. And like I said, if John is using PGP properly and he knows what he's doing, he should never share his private key. Therefore, he will be the only person in the world that is able to read the content of this message. Now for this example, to make things easy, I'm going to go back to my email client and I'm just going to reply to this email and we'll put our encrypted message in here. Keep in mind, I'm copying it from the start to the end. I'm going to click on send and that's it, sent to John. So let's go to John's computer. We're going to go to his email account. We're going to refresh the inbox and we're going to click on the message that we just got. And as you can see, this message is encrypted. It's gibberish. We can't really see what David is trying to tell us. So we're going to right click and copy this message. And as soon as we copy it, you'll notice the clipboard icon in here again changes to indicate a lock, to indicate that the clipboard contains encrypted text. We're going to click on this and we're going to say, I want to decrypt or verify my clipboard. It's going to ask me for the passphrase for my key, for John Wick's key. Remember when we created this key, we had to select a passphrase and that passphrase will always be required before you can use this private key. So I'm going to put the passphrase that I set when I created this key. I'm going to click on OK. And perfect. As you can see, we can see the contents of the message saying, hello, this is a secret message sent from David to John. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, the receiver shares their public key with the sender uses this public key to encrypt the message, and then they can put the message anywhere or even share it publicly. It doesn't really matter because the only person that can read this message is the person who has the private key. The private key never gets shared. Therefore, this is a very, very good and secure implementation. So now, in this example, John created the key pair, he shared his public key with David, and David was the one encrypting the message and sending it back to John. Now, if John wants to send something back to David, we just have to do the reverse of the process. So David will just have to create his own key pair, share the public key with John, and then John will be able to encrypt messages and share them with David and know that David would be the only one able to read the contents of the messages sent to him.